I know.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Joe.
I am
Jimmy.
good. I really like what you have on today, Matt. Looks good on you.
Oh, thank you for your compliment.
What show?
Fashion director.
Joe, it is.
1472?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. 1472. Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you you ready?
Yep.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1472, January 28, 2025. 47 degrees on this day in 1892. Is she threatened today? Is that high threatened, I wonder, that record?
I don't think so. I'll look.
And 29 below on this day in 1873.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
We hear from Emily again. Emily said, "Hi, I listened to the beginning of your show today," meaning yesterday's show, "where you read my email from last week asking if you do tutoring.
Oh, my God.
So I take it you don't do tutoring. But since you are a garage shop, can you work on my car? My front brakes have been grinding for over a month, and I can't afford to get them repaired by a high-dollar shop. What do you guys charge? Thanks, Emily." No, Emily, we don't have a shop. We don't tutor. The whole garage logic concept has nothing to do with car repair per se. But we appreciate your.
May I ask a question?
You may.
In your storied career in broadcasting, were you ever approached about teaching a course in broadcasting?
No.
Oh, God, no. Please, no.
Of course not. Hello, everybody.
No.
No, I was not. I have not.
Or just speak
No.
to a class? Or
No.
I
He
just
does.
became unplugged.
Hey, Soch, how about we let's
He's
start a tutoring business?
I'm self-taught.
he's the only person in radio who's done everything absolutely the wrong way and been a tremendous success.
May I read to you?
No. Before you move on, Emily,
Emily, no, we don't fix brakes.
should we pawn her? Maybe pawn her is not the right word. Pass her off to a loved and treasured client of ours
We
that
should.
does fix brakes.
Emily, Schoonovers.
Schoonover Body Works
Schoonover
and
will take
Auto
care of your
Care.
brakes.
he'll bring
Shoreview.
the car to you.
Although
to,
I have a feeling that Emily's pulling our leg.
Yeah.
Schoonoverbodyworks.com.
Did you know that I got a text from a young man, and he brought his Jeep into Schoonover because there was a radiator leak. They went through the entire thing, tightened up a radiator hose, and then detailed his Jeep and sent him on his way. He was singing the praises of Schoonover, and I won't be here for Positive Thursday, so I just want to say
Thank
good
you
job,
for
Mike.
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is closer to the truth than we'll ever realize. It's been going around the interwebs, but it's fantastic. To fully understand how remarkable Trump's exchange with Colombia was, we have to understand how Washington, D.C. traditionally works. You'll recall that Colombia refused to take a plane load of illegals, and Trump said, fine, we're going to slap a tariff on you of 25% for everything. And then suddenly Colombia said, well, we'll take them. All right. So here's the way it always works in Washington.
Go.
You ready?
Yep.
Number one step, Colombia announces it will not take repatriation flights. 2, on Monday, the State Department convenes an interagency task force with DOD, NSC, DEA, INS, ICE, Commerce, Treasury, and Homeland Security. 3, the task force meets for 4 days and develops a position paper. 4, the position paper is rejected by the Secretary of State, who is unhappy that insufficient equity considerations are built into the process. 5. The task force reconvenes a week later to redevelop 3 new equity-centric courses of action and create a new position paper. 6. The process is delayed a week because Washington, D.C. got 3 inches of snow. 7. Secretary of State approves the new position paper for interagency circulation, and considerable input is received from the heads of other departments, so the task force must reconvene. 8. The original 3 proposed responsive courses of action are scrapped in favor of a new 4th course of action that achieves the worst aspects of the 3 prior courses of action but satisfies the interagency. 9. Someone in state who disagrees leaks it to the Washington Post, who writes a story about how ineffective the presidential administration is. 10. The White House Chief of Staff sets up a session 3 days later to brief the president, who approves the new 4th course of action. 11. Over a month after the issue was first raised, the State Department Public Affairs officer holds a press conference announcing that Colombia has agreed to try to send fewer criminals into the U.S., and everyone declares a victory. Now here's how Trump did it. 1. Colombia announces it will not take our repatriation flights. 2. After a par 5 third hole where he goes 1 under par, Trump used his iPhone to post on social media as to how the USA will destroy Colombia's economy if they do not do what the USA demands. 3. By the time Trump gets to the par 4 sixth, Colombia's president has agreed to repatriate all the illegal Colombians in his own plane, which he will pay for. 4. Trump finishes 3 under par and goes to the clubhouse for a Diet Coke, where he posts a gangsta AI image of himself in the new FAFO doctrine. 5. Winning. See the difference? It's called leadership. This has been going around
Interwebs?
That's not far off the mark, is it?
No. Oh, I got to jump on YouTube.
Now, an ode to a GLer. I don't think he'll mind me using his name. Did it say anywhere not to? No. Tom Cullen, who I want all other GLers to maybe take some inspiration from what I'm about to read you.
Okay.
All right?
I'm relaxed, so lay it on me.
Joe, I am beside myself as I look at the lack of care the Minnesota Democratic House representatives have for the constituents of their districts. I am in Minnesota House District 52B, and Rebecca Vernig is my absent rep. That's out in Eagan.
Okay.
I've been watching President Trump be presidential by doing something about our problems the country is facing. He is tireless and decisive as well as effective. He isn't talking, he is acting. I cannot compel Bianca Vernig to do the job she was elected to do. I have called her office with no response and sent emails to the same end. I am inspired by our president, so instead of just talking, I am asking for a return of the tax dollars I paid to the state of Minnesota in 2024. Clearly, my tax dollars are at risk as the state is infected by waste, fraud, and abuse at every level. Bianca Vernig, my basement-dwelling rep, is violating and neglecting her duties to me as my elected state rep by failing to appear on my behalf to represent my interests in ongoing meetings and sessions of the Minnesota legislature. I am being taxed without representation, and I want my dollars off the table and returned to me before they buy a hotel in Somalia. I will have my day in court, and I will be doing something. I'm going to risk $80 to file, and I'll risk my time. I am not an attorney or anything of the sort. I sell electric wheelbarrows. It's a place called Chore Warrior.
I love those things.
This guy
Cool.
sells wheelbarrows for a living. I must work every day, and I am grateful for the opportunity. These people have forgotten who they work for, and even though I can't go to her office and make my point, she will have to face me in court. I will have my say. Best regards, Tom Cullen, Power Assist Technologies, home of the Chore Warrior, an electric wheelbarrow. That is fantastic. He is taxed without representation, as are we all.
Right.
This guy actually works. I looked up Bianca Vernig. She's a mom, and she has a husband. They have a house. They have 3 kids. You would think she would know something of real life. I couldn't find out anything of her background. She works for some sort of educational consultancy, which is a red flag to me,
Right.
but I could just be overreacting. But she's just among the Democrats, none of whom have the character to grab the
Horse by the
bull by the
There you
horn
go.
and say, we have to get back to work. She's just among them. I can't lay it all at her feet. But I think that's every DFLer should, every citizen of every DFL district should do this.
I can't believe that more people have not.
I'm going to look into it because if all it's going to cost me is $80 and a day in court, I'm doing it.
Do you want me to throw water on your fire now, or do you want to keep going?
Well, go ahead.
No taxation without representation is a fantastic slogan, and that's all it is. Mm-hmm. It's not in the Constitution. I don't know if it's in the Declaration of Independence, but it is not a law, and it's nothing that can be enforced.
Well, I would look at it this way. There can only be taxation with representation because they're the ones who dream it up.
Right, but what the emailer is saying, and I agree with, we're being taxed, they're getting paid, we're not being represented.
Why do we throw all that tea into the harbor in Boston?
Because of overtaxation. And we weren't being represented. We were being represented by a bunch of asshats across the sea.
Right. So we wanted our own representation.
Correct. Yeah. I agree with them, and I don't know that it'll work. There's
Well,
others.
How about this? If what you're saying it would be tossed out on its face because there's no such language as no taxation without representation, how about the fact that what obligation do we have to pay these people for not working?
You're opening a can of worms that I love, and I mean, are you going to be the first person to not pay your taxes with this rallying cry?
I've said before, it doesn't work if 10 people say they're not going to pay their taxes.
But I mean, it's, are you all with me? Okay, charge.
It's only going to work if 400,000 people don't want to pay their taxes.
If you're the only one running up Pickett's
then
charge,
I'm the one in jail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate what Tom Cullen's doing. He's put his money where his mouth is. He's acting the way a GLer would act.
Absolutely.
He wants his tax dollars off the table and returned to him. They're not being put to use by his representative.
Right.
He's not representing him.
Okay.
There is no reason in the world the DFLers aren't at work. And every reason they give you is gaslighting BS.
Right.
Well, what about the whole quorum thing?
The quorum, the Republicans aren't going to win that one. The quorum's going to be 68 because apparently the law has interpreted that it's not people, it's seats. So one more seat has to have a butt in it, and then you'd have a quorum.
Yeah. What about the theory that if they're not there, at least they're not spending our money? Are you down with that?
No, because they'll rush to make up that spending.
Yeah.
In a year when they shouldn't, they've blown the surplus, and
Did
you're
you
governed
read-
by the worst governor in the country.
Without a doubt. Did you read anything about Trump dropping income tax
I
and
have
replacing it with tariffs?
I have not.
That's one of his latest ideas.
Well, he spitballs all day long. I mean, he
He
dreams up
does.
stuff.
He does. See what sticks.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And you-
it's unconscionable that these freeloaders are collecting their salary. And I see where Lee Finke got some CNN time.
Yep.
CNN is going to spend, they don't get it, so they're going to spend 4 years further diminishing themselves by just bitching about what's going on in the country every day. And so Lee Finke gets a platform to say that she thinks Trump is constituting terrorism with his DEI positions.
Did
and
you see
whatnot.
Acosta this morning? Just
I did not.
He quit on the air.
Well, good. He should.
It's right out of Network, the movie Network.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what it is.
So fantastic. He just went on a rant.
You want to hear it?
Wait a second. GLers now are asking that we post that email on our website because everybody sounds like they really love what was sent to you there.
I'll clear it with him first.
All right.
Yeah. Back to Finke. It was, again, a reinforcement that she is there for one purpose only, to advance the cause of transsexuals. She has nothing to do with streetlights and snowplows and
Right.
parkland. And
Just the agenda.
it's just her. She's only there for one reason, and it's the Earl Weaver reason.
Anywhere that has been presented that transgender service members are anything but qualified to be a part of our military service. The military is the largest employer of transgender Americans. You heard up to 14,000, 15,000 members identify as trans.
I don't want to hear
and
this. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you have it. I can't stand this. She's there for one reason. She's not there to represent. And why you people in her district voted for her, you're not being represented unless you're trans. Then you're represented. I will ask Tom Cullen if I can, if we can post this, because I do believe GLers would like to take his page and maybe run with it. I have a lot of information. I have a lot of friendly GLers trying to help us understand the AI we went through yesterday with DeepSeek, the new Chinese AI company that's taking the app world by storm.
Yes.
And I'll just start with Gary writes, open source means that the software code, the programming, is available to the public instead of being proprietary to a single company. So anyone can modify and submit changes to the software code, which will be reviewed and possibly incorporated into the release version of the program. Well, see, he stops me right there. Isn't the program already been released? There's an app you can get and put the little whale on your phone. So I don't know what he means by the released version of the program. So I thank you, but now you're going to have to email me again. Don writes, computer software starts as human-readable instructions, which is translated into machine-readable code. Open source is source code that is open to the public to view and modify. As an example, now he's talking GL here.
Okay.
As an example, you put an apple pie recipe on the internet, apple pie 1.0. Someone comes along and tweaks the recipe, apple pie 2.0. If it's better, the internet uses it. Someone comes along and improves that apple pie, it's 3.0, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that helps.
Okay.
I get that.
Yep.
I thought we explained that yesterday.
Well, I know. I think these are helpful. Now, here is Paul Hagen, who writes from the Computer Guy. DeepSeek is AI's Sputnik moment.
Okay. All right.
Now, you're all too young to remember that.
No?
I remember my father taking me outside, pointing to the sky and say,
Look at that.
There
the
it goes.
Russians just launched something.
Yep.
For those wondering how a small team in China can wipe $1 trillion off the U.S. stock market in a day, here's some insight. Complacency kills, but so does believing everything you read and hear. DeepSeek is not an AI company focused on building LLMs. What's that mean? Jesus Christ. They are a quant company. For those not familiar, research Renaissance Technology, which uses technology like high-performance computing.
Yep.
Joe, LLM stands for large language model.
Okay, I'm not reading this one because it's not dumbed down enough.
It's too smart.
It's too smart. All right, here's the best one.
Let's go.
And now, by best, I mean the most
This
dumbed
is the-
down.
Oh, okay.
This is from Joe S. That's my initial.
Not you, though.
It's not me. The big stock meltdown yesterday due to big whale AI is easily explained using Rookie as the mad scientist.
Oh.
Chat XYZ, Twitter XAI, and Siri all currently use the best computer chips ever created. Data centers with rooms and rooms full of computers using NVIDIA chips. All to get your AI query quickly and concise.
Okay.
So far, I got this, right? The new kid on the block, the Blue Whale AI, was recently invented by Rookie and Mr. Wonderful in Joe's garage. They used a strip of duct tape, a Post-it note, some old bubble gum, a bag of Old Dutch potato chips, and a drop of sea foam. Rookie's Blue Whale AI provides the same quick, concise solutions as the original AI, Chat, ABC, Twitter, et al. But the Rookie Wonderful GL version is dirt cheap. The cheapness is what caused NVIDIA to lose $800 billion yesterday because there is now a cheaper mousetrap available. The scary part is that Rookie controls the answers that the big whale provides, and he is also storing all the user data for his future nefarious, F that word, plans. I get that. I heard another one, too. It's like you had a pile of Chevrolet parts in your garage, and you slapped them together and ended up with a Ferrari. Okay? That's what... So I better understand why Blue Whale is a sudden darling.
So
Because they did it cheap and they did it well.
it's like budget air. It's not the best way to fly,
But it'll get you there.
We'll get you there
Eventually.
Maybe.
Eventually.
No,
Hopefully.
that's even a bad analogy because AI shows no signs of being inefficient or incompetent.
But it is inaccurate.
Well, how do I know that?
Well, Gabe told us that extensively yesterday, and you see some of that.
Yeah, the
already.
Tiananmen Square analogy.
Well, they're not inaccurate, they're sensorial.
Okay.
They censor.
Also inaccurate.
Yeah.
though.
Okay,
Yeah,
Professor.
yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Phil.
I don't even know if sensorial is a word. I
You want
think
to borrow
I was
my?
wondering that too.
I think I made that up.
You want to borrow my pullover with the patches on?
No.
Okay.
By the way, you do get a thorough, in-depth, detailed report on this from Mr. Money Talk at the end
So-
of GL today.
Okay, Chris. We just got a message on YouTube. By the way, the stock market has recovered half of its losses back already today. So did he talk about, my question is, so if you had a stock that you have already made money on and you see it's about to drop, could you have sold it for like, say, $75 a stock and then bought it back this morning for $50?
Let's just say
Why not?
the people that had a lot of holdings with NVIDIA when it crashed yesterday
Yeah.
sunk a ton of money into it.
And what does that mean? They're now rich?
They're
no,
gonna
they probably are hanging on till it comes back,
right.
if in fact
Okay.
it does.
Yeah.
So I guess my general question is somebody very wealthy today as a result of the crash?
Oh,
and
I'm
then
sure.
the buildup?
Undoubtedly.
Oh, I'm sure,
Undoubtedly.
What are we doing?
Well-
Talk. What,
We got
what
a
are
new
we?
fart button.
No, we just got this. Let me see. We just
Got new bumper music.
No, we just got this.
And this.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So we're in high clover.
Did you see the NVIDIA co-founder lost $20.1 billion in stock yesterday? I mean, he's probably got plenty.
Wow.
I don't think he's
he'll-
searching for his
I
next
think
meal.
he'll have supper tonight.
I think he's fine.
He may land on his feet.
I think so.
$20.1 billion though in one day.
Yeah, but it was all paper BS. He didn't. I mean, you know.
How much
it's-
crypto is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, but Joe, at what point do they come and take the keys for your house away? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, in
That's
his
the government's
case, he
job.
just moved to his other house.
You know, Jensen Huang.
you.
Jensen Huang has a net worth of about $119 billion.
Oh, so he'll
is
be
he
okay.
is he the
American
whale guy?
entrepreneur and businessman, founder and CEO of NVIDIA.
He's the guy that lost the 20.1
Okay,
bill. Yes.
okay. He ain't gonna take well to a fellow Chinaman stripping him of his wealth.
Okay,
Right.
Walter.
I'm not sure if we're going to call him that there, great grandpa.
We don't use that nomenclature anymore, dude.
What's wrong with Chinaman?
That's not the preferred nomenclature.
2025.
What am I supposed to say?
I don't know, Chinese person or
A man of
something.
Chinese descent.
Something that sounds better.
Don't
Than
you
that.
remember that
Chinaman.
scene, Joe? Don't you
No,
remember that
Joe.
scene?
No, stop saying it.
You remember that scene in the
Don't-
movie? Come on.
Which
The Big
yeah,
Lebowski?
I just called you Walter.
From Big Lebowski.
He says Chinaman, and Walter says, "Oh, we don't use that nomenclature."
That's not the preferred nomenclature.
Not the preferred nomenclature.
Oh yeah. I hope you guys have a garage door guy. Let's keep it
I-
simple.
you
You
know.
don't need a NVIDIA chip. You need a garage door guy, right? Yeah. Huh? Precision Door MN. Put this number in your contacts. You know you're going to need a garage door guy sooner or later. 612-263-6985. Precision Door MN serves western Wisconsin, the entire metro. They get the job done usually on the first visit. They inform you when they're on their way. They don't charge more for weekend visits. Boy, is that worth something when it's 20 below on a February Sunday. And if you need a new door, they have models for every budget. They send out a garage door designer. The whole consultation is free of charge. 612-263-6985, or if you prefer email, or the .com thing. No, it would be email. No. Well, whatever. Precision Door MN, one word. PrecisionDoorMN.com.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
You know, when you have to wash out your filthy mouth with soap,
Hi, I'm Kenny.
why don't you rinse it off with some Hofferman water? That's what I would do at my home. And here's the deal, folks. If you've been on the fence about making the switch, I can't recommend Hofferman water and Connecticut water treatment systems highly enough. I've had them in my current home and in my previous home. It's made an amazing difference in the quality of my water. It will do the same thing for you because bad water can affect almost every single aspect of your home. Your showers, your laundry, your cooking, and of course your drinking water. Your ice, by the way, becomes better. So here's the deal. You got to take that step. So get on the schedule right now to have them come up for that free water analysis. And with that, you're going to get a water score. And then they can give you some options as to what might help your home water system. So do that by calling 612-895-2440 or visit their website, which is HoffermanWater.com. Either way, you can get on that schedule. If you do go to their website, you can see all of the water treatment systems that they have to offer, whether it's a water softener, an iron, rust, and odor filtration system, or a brand new drinking water system. 612-895-2440 or HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
I'm probably of the last generation in America that had our mouth washed out with soap.
Oh, no, you're not.
no.
Really?
No. I tasted
You
all
did
the
too?
brands.
Rook?
I do not ever remember.
And I have
You were too much Eddie Haskell.
I have a son who now is 10. A couple of years ago requested I do it because he heard about it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear it's still a practice.
I do think it was funny that little Ralphie became a connoisseur of the different types of soap in the Christmas story.
I still remember my very first taste of soap.
I do too.
Yeah.
What bar
I didn't
was it?
like it.
Irish Spring.
No. We were
Probably
playing
Ivory.
We were playing in the neighbor's old honey wagon. You guys know what a honey wagon
yeah.
is?
Oh, yeah.
And I walked in the kitchen, and my mom asked, "Where were you?" And I said, "Oh, I was with the Sheckers. We were playing in the shit truck." And I tried to explain
The
to
old
my
bar,
mom, tried to explain to my mom over and over again that no, that's okay. That's what they call it.
That's right.
Wow.
While repeating the word over and over.
I remember the first time I dropped a big F-bomb in front of my mom.
Oopsie.
She was at her calligraphy board, penning something beautiful, and I had the cat on my shoulder, and the cat went and scratched me and jumped off. And I said, effer. And I just realized what I said, and then I saw the pen lift from the paper.
Yes.
No words were spoken. I said,
Yes.
"Oh, that trucker, that trucker." She shook her head no twice and started to calligraph again. I said, "Mom, you got to say something. You got to say something." Oh, it was horrible.
An effort to expel DFL Minnesota State Senator Nicole Mitchell failed in the chamber yesterday. Republican Senator Jordan Rasmussen of Fergus Falls introduced the motion to expel Mitchell, who last year was charged with burglary. However, the effort collapsed due to a procedural technicality that blocked the motion along a party line vote of 33 to 33. Because again, they're on the third rail. They all have their own rules. They're different rules than we have. Rasmussen said, in addition to the burglary charges, Mitchell has abused her position in the Senate to force a delay in a trial that would provide closure and justice for a real victim. In response to the block motion, GOP Senator Mark Johnson said Mitchell is abusing her status as a senator. Last year, we heard time and time again how she deserves her day in court before we can decide on her status. And she has played both the judicial system and the Senate rules to her own and only her own advantage. I find that to be an accurate statement. Earlier this month, a judge granted Mitchell's motion to delay her trial until after the legislative session. Trial was supposed to start yesterday, but now it will start within 60 days of May 19. Okay. Let's say that this senator's name was Nick Mitchell, and he was a police officer who broke into his stepmother's home to steal items, and that he scared the hell out of the stepmother when he was found dressed all in black, crawling around the stepmother's bedroom. Would the police officer, who's also a legislator, named Nick Mitchell, would he be getting this kind of treatment? No. Staff?
I think you're getting the big red family red X, Family Feud red X.
No.
Try again.
This used to be a hell of a state, didn't it? I'm being very serious. It was a hell of a state. Going back to the days when Wendy Anderson held up the walleye on the cover of Time magazine. It was a hell of a state. Now we got an alleged criminal in the Senate. We got a DFL legislators refuse to work at the House. We've got the worst governor in the history of the worst governor currently in the country. We've got untold amounts of fraud that still have yet to be discovered, not to mention that the fraud that is known exceeds $500 million. We've blown an $18 billion surplus. We're building a $1 billion unneeded new office building. And I guess what conclusion we might draw from all that is it surprising that Nicole Mitchell is just taking her seat in the Senate despite these charges and a trial awaiting her? Are we supposed to excuse her because of the nature of the crime? Are we supposed to cut her some slack? And if we are, then introduce the name of police officer Nick Mitchell. Would he be introduced to similar slack? Or would he be really gone after because he was an evil, hated cop? The DFL would try to string him up.
Go ahead, Ken.
They would.
Go ahead, Ken.
Let me turn this around and throw it right back at you, and I'm asking you and only you and not the GLers or constituents or voters. Would you feel the same way if it was male or female, but on the GOP side of the aisle?
Yes, of course I would.
Okay, I kind of knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I want some character. I want some
Yeah.
adults. I want some responsibility. I don't want this game being played with these adult children.
Joe, we can't go back to that. You can never go back to that. It's too far. We're too far gone. This is where we're at.
I'm sorry Nicole Mitchell has this whatever dilemma she's facing with her extended family. That's not my problem. And it shouldn't be the problem of the people she represents. She shouldn't be representing them now. She's not fit.
I keep hearing Pat Garofalo in my brain saying, I will accept the court's decision. I don't know if he, in fact, says that in this case, but he has said that about other issues. The Shakopee
he didn't
tab key thing.
He hasn't weighed in on this issue.
You mentioned the fraud thing, and I was going to bring this up yesterday because she was posting a bunch of stuff. But Marion,
Who was?
Marion O'Neill Rarick.
Yes.
She says, this is posted yesterday. There's another one I'll read shortly. Fun fact, if Democrats had shown up to work right now at this very moment, we would be having the first ever Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee hearing. It was supposed to start today, meaning yesterday, at 8:15 a.m. Another fun fact. Last Friday, January 24th at 4:06 p.m., the Minnesota Supreme Court rules quorum to convene the House of 68, which stopped the first ever hearing of the Fraud Prevention Committee. I'm sure the two are not related.
Mm-hmm. Remember, she told us that she was really looking forward to Monday because the fraud hearings were going to start. Back to Mitchell. Earlier this month, a judge granted Mitchell's motion to delay her trial. Until after the legislative session. Is the judge playing politics? Is he merely being kind?
Is there precedent he's following?
I have no idea.
Right.
The trial was set to begin, as I said yesterday. Mitchell pleaded not guilty to first-degree burglary. This is going back to last August now, and has denied wrongdoing. I don't know how she could deny that. She was caught in the house.
Right. I'm not good at this thing.
I do remember
Right.
we came up with that. She just wasn't a very good burglar.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, but she admitted that.
That's what
She's
she
the one
said,
that said
yeah.
it. Yes.
while being arrested.
She did have the good outfit, though. She had the right outfit.
It wasn't quite Catwoman, you know?
Yeah.
According to the criminal complaint, Mitchell admitted to police she broke into her stepmother's home in Detroit Lakes last April. So we're going on a year here. Last April to retrieve some of her late father's personal items, including his ashes. Okay. DFL House Minority Leader Melissa Hortman reiterated her call on Monday for previously negotiated. Don't tell me I'm doing a different story again.
It's all, in this case, I personally think it's all about the judge. I believe that if this had happened to a GOP member, the GOP would behave the same way that the DFL is behaving. And the question is, what would the judge do? And there's no way of knowing that.
Oh, I found the page I'm looking for.
Did I fill enough for you?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. I don't expect a response
professional.
from you because I know you weren't listening.
I
Okay,
wasn't.
that's a professional.
Well, and why wasn't I listening? Because I was trying to find the right piece of paper.
Lack of show prep. No, I mean, you were looking for the right.
Not a lack of show prep, it's too much show prep. How's that?
Yeah.
An expulsion vote against Mitchell failed last year, though the DFL did remove her from committees and caucus meetings. Rasmussen, who brought this expulsion move, said that action means Mitchell has forfeited her ability to effectively represent her constituents. Well, that certainly stands to reason. If she's not on a committee and she doesn't attend caucus meetings, she's useless to the people of Woodbury.
Correct.
Before the vote, DFL Senator Nick Frentz spoke in support of Mitchell and asked Senate President Bobby Joe Champion, who sounds like he should have something on the top 40.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby Joe Champion.
To find Rasmussen's motion out of order. This member of the Senate has not had her day in court, Frentz said.
What's taking so long?
Well, because she keeps delaying it, Frentz. Because of the vacancy caused by DFL Kerry Dietzig's death, that vote is taking place as we speak to replace Kerry Dietzig's seat. The balance of power in the Senate is 33-33. Dietzig's seat will be filled today. It favors Democrats, of course,
Most
because
likely.
people they just keep voting in the wrong people. In a visible sign of the dysfunction in the Capitol's other gallery, House Democrats continue to boycott the session, with Republicans unable to do anything official after the state Supreme Court ruled that since there are 134 seats, a quorum is reached once a single party has 68. Oh, then I'm wrong. The quorum can only be reached if all seats are filled
Correct.
and one half of the room has either 68 or more seats.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one more body, a Democrat showing up wouldn't do the trick.
Wouldn't help.
No.
And even if one was in jail.
Hey now.
Well, that's the Senate.
That's the Senate.
The Senate
just
half,
making
I
a
know,
joke.
I know. The
I'm sorry.
Senate half of this dust up is in jail. Never mind. It's not in jail and should be in jail.
What about the cop?
Well, I let him go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The answer to the Nicole Mitchell thing, somebody said what the judge based it on. Apparently, there's a statute that reads the member, officer, or attorney may, with the consent of the body of the legislature of which the person is a member, officer, or employee, waive this privilege. So, in other words, the vote. The cause or proceeding, motion, or hearing may then be tried or heard at a time that will not conflict with legislative duties. So, basically, that says if the legislature votes to keep her, which she was part of the vote of, then she's fine, and then you can waive the date.
Well, there's a perfect example, ladies and gentlemen, of the once great state of Minnesota, that these people are not living. Once they walk through the doors of the State House, they are not living by the rules that the rest of us
Like
live
a magic filter.
by. Yeah. And she voted. She took part in the vote
She was, yeah.
to keep herself in her seat.
Do you think she did
you
one
could
of these?
say she was the deciding vote,
Yeah.
really. It was
Yeah.
33-33.
Do you think she was mulling it over, going, oh, boy, I don't
Wonder-
know.
Yeah, what's going to happen here?
Joe,
kind of a tough
Joe,
one.
we're sorry, Joe. We're going to go in a different direction. We've decided to fire you. What's your input on that?
I vote no.
Yeah, okay, you're staying.
guess I'm
sorry,
staying.
sorry, I brought it up.
See, I'd say, yeah, I can kind of see that. I think, yeah. You guys, that's a good call for you guys.
So you keep saying that people keep voting for the wrong people, and you could say that. I mean, that's local, statewide, and national. Both sides are saying that. You know, why did you idiots vote for this
Well,
candidate?
I can clean that up. It's not that we're voting for the wrong people. The country is having a hard time getting people of character to run for office.
Okay, thank you. I don't even have to ask the rest of the question.
Yeah.
And it's I would say the party's fault for endorsing those bad candidates during the primary process, is it not?
Well, the DFL loves this because it keeps them in power.
Yeah.
They've
All
got
right.
they've got an activist base that keeps funneling new crops of activists into the state capitol or onto city councils.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Wow.
It should be noted, I noticed somebody on YouTube said she's not showing up. Well, everybody's showing up at the Senate.
Yeah.
She's there at the
Yeah.
Senate. It's the House.
Yeah.
So the Dems aren't showing up.
She was there
Yeah.
to vote to save her own self.
Exactly.
Speaking of that Senate race, that election 60A, that's right now, today.
That's right. I said, as we speak, that's taking
yeah.
place.
Yes.
South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country. So we're talking about a state that's pretty much the exact opposite of Minnesota. And if you're looking to expand your business or start a new business or start a new branch of your business, you might want to consider Sioux Falls, South Dakota, largest city in South Dakota with a population of over 290,000. They got stuff there.
Yeah.
You know, they got restaurants and orchestras and they got an
It's a
airport.
great place.
They got stuff.
I've been there.
They got great schools, shorter commutes, friendly streets. But here, you're a business person. Here's what you're interested in. Low business costs with a high quality of life. No state, corporate, or personal income tax. No inheritance tax. No limit to what your business can achieve. And if you're an entrepreneur, they welcome you with open arms, unlike this state governed by the worst governor in the country.
Yeah.
So check out Sioux Falls. You can find out everything at SiouxFallsDevelopment.com. That's one word, SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Here's the band on Garage Logic. Nobody does it better. Nobody does it better.
Is that Sheena Easton? That's not the band.
We're talking Seafoam,
Carly
Rook.
Simon.
We're talking Seafoam. And we're talking preventing all the usual common engine problems, Seafoam motor treatment. It's going to make it run better. It gives you peace of mind knowing that good old set of wheels is always up to the task, whether it's 1 mile or 1,000. If you think the vehicle is stumbling or choking or running on only 7 of the available 8 cylinders, drop in some Seafoam and give that daily driver a gulp or two before heading to the mechanic. And that's what's going to make it happy. Seafoam, made with safe ingredients, can't harm your engine or equipment, only helps it. And it doesn't matter what equipment it might be, small engine, large engine, gas, diesel. Seafoam is always the answer. It revives, it keeps it alive. It's a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. It is, of course, Seafoam.
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This update brought to you by North American Banking Company. I'm going to put a cheap plug in for one of our friends here, if nobody cares. Tomorrow night, normally our buddy and your relative, Pat Donahue, does a show at the Midway Saloon, right?
Yeah.
But he's not doing it this Wednesday. The reason, he and 2 other just monster guitarists, Tim Sparks and Phil Haywood, are playing at the Dakota downtown.
Really?
A show down there, 7 o'clock tomorrow. And, yeah. I would
Go
love to
Patrick.
go, but I have other plans, so
You get some
I
light
would go
down
see
work
them.
done?
If you like guitar,
Yeah.
you'll love this. Tim is a major league guitarist also, and
What
Phil
was
is also
the venue?
The
the
Dakota.
downtown,
Oh.
right? Dakota Jazz Club.
Great
Wonderful.
venue.
Wonderful.
It's a great venue, yes. Anyway, all right, moving right along to news. Minneapolis voters, as we've said today, are heading to the polls for a special election in the state Senate following the death of Kerry Dietzich, who died from cancer last month and represented the 60th District. The race's outcome will also determine the balance of power in the Senate. As we've told you, it's currently tied at 33 each. The district encompasses all of northeast and southeast Minneapolis and the Cedar Riverside neighborhood on the opposite side of the Mississippi River. Voters today are choosing between DFL member Doran Clark and Republican Abigail Walters. Also, as we told you, Senator Nicole Mitchell, she will stay in the Senate, it appears, 33 to 33 vote, because that's how many both parties have right now. This all comes after she was arrested last spring at her stepmother's house by Detroit Lakes officers responding to a burglary. Do we have an accident in the...
Yeah.
Discipline.
My
Discipline.
fault. My fault.
Discipline.
Go ahead, John.
That'll happen. Update to a story from yesterday following the decision of current City Council President Mitra Jalali to step down from her position in order to focus on her health. St. Paul leaders say they now know who will be leading the council starting next month. The city announced that it'll be Rebecca Noker, who will be the next president effective February 12th. City officials wrote the council will have information about a public appointment process to select an interim council member for Ward 4 in the near future. A special election will then occur for the rest of her term, which is through 2028. Some communities in the Twin Cities can expect a population boom over the next 2 decades. The Met Council's 2050 population forecast says cities in the metro like Rosemount, Blaine, Waconia, Chanhassen, and Lakeville will all see a large increase. City officials in Rosemount say they're preparing for the population boom by hiring more police and fire, building new schools, and creating a traffic plan. The city administrator in Rosemount, Logan Martin, said it's very exciting. Rosemount's been waiting for this and preparing for this a really long time. Met Council predicts nearly 15,000 people will move to Rosemount over the next 2 decades.
People don't want to live in the sustainable urban core. There's plenty of Soviet-style apartment blocks going up.
Yeah.
Wait, I missed the very first part of this. What are they basing this on?
It's their 2050 population forecast
Got it. Okay.
that the Met Council does.
Got
We're
it.
looking at 52, Highway 3, and 77. Have fun commuting into the metro, folks. Have fun.
Yeah, it's already a disaster.
Yeah.
One of the defendants charged under the indictment for the Feeding Our Future executive director Amy Bach, Abdullah Nur Salah. I don't know what Amy Bach had to do there. Scratch Amy Bach. Abdullah Nur Salah entered a guilty plea in federal court this morning ahead of his case going to trial. In the massive pandemic relief fraud case, 14 people were named under the indictment for Bach. The 38-year-old Salah pleaded guilty to wire fraud. His other charges will be dismissed at sentencing. He's facing up to 20 years in prison and fines up to $250,000. Jointly, Salah and the other defendants in the case owe $44 million in restitution.
Where are they going to get that?
Yeah.
They got it. You can get it.
You can get it. In late November, Golden Valley Police responded to a call involving 2 students fighting, one of whom had brass knuckles at Robbinsdale Academy Highview School.
Jesus.
One of the students suffered a concussion, received stitches from injuries sustained in the fight with the brass knuckles, according to police. Golden Valley Police Chief Virgil Green told our friends at 5 Eyewitness News the school's assistant principal, Patrick Burrage, originally told officers he was not sure if brass knuckles were used and he didn't know where they were if they indeed had been used. Well, the chief told 5 Eyewitness News his department later secured a search warrant and found the brass knuckles in the desk drawer
What are those doing there?
of Assistant Principal Burrage. And Rook's right. That's pretty much what he said.
That's exactly what he did.
The chief said, let's just say I found them in the bathroom. Well, during the course of the investigation, the chief said they figured out he didn't just find the brass knuckles. He was given the brass knuckles by the teacher who broke up the fight. Green originally asked the city attorney to charge Burrage with misdemeanor obstruction in the investigation, but Chief Green said the city attorney told him there was evidence to charge the assistant principal with a felony. On Monday, Green said he asked the Hennepin County Attorney's Office to charge Burrage with felony obstruction. Robbinsdale area schools declined to comment, and attempts to reach the assistant principal for comment were unsuccessful. Republicans in Minnesota sent President Donald Trump their recommendation for U.S. Attorney and U.S. Marshal for the District of Minnesota yesterday. In a letter to President Trump, Representatives Tom Emmer, Michelle Fischbach, Pete Stauber, and Brad Finstead recommended Ronald Schultz, Donald Rosen, and Erica McDonald for U.S. Attorney, while James Stewart and Bob Kroll were recommended for U.S. Marshal. McDonald previously served as U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota from 2018 to 2021. Kroll worked, of course, as president of the Police Officers Federation of Minneapolis for 6 years. After a settlement agreement in April of 2023, he was banned from serving as an officer in Hennepin, Ramsey, and Anoka counties for the next 10 years. The settlement with the ACLU stems from 2 class action lawsuits filed over police mistreatment of demonstrators in the wake of the killing of George Floyd. Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from our friend, the Rookie.
All right, well, we got some temps that are heating up here right now. 40 degrees. It's going to be beautiful outside. Hopefully it's not 40 degrees in your home. That's where the Welter family comes in. If your furnace is breaking down, making some funny noises, or you're just not sure, hasn't had a tune-up for as long as you live there, why don't you just get in touch with Welter? They'll help you out, and they've got the 24/7 emergency service. I hope you don't have to use that, but now when the temperatures are warming up, you're not using your heat as much, but you're still going to rely on that. So make sure you stay in touch with Welter. WelterHeating.com is the website. Over 116 years. That's a long time to be in business serving the metro area here. And that's 4 generations. Rick is at the helm right now, and so many generations of Welter family have kept this business going because they treat people with respect. They'll give you a good quote. And you can request a quote online, by the way, at WelterHeating.com. But if you want to talk to somebody, 612-825-6867. And when the temperature starts to warm up, it's never too early to book that air conditioning unit tune-up as well. They do it all. Heating, cooling, air purification, and they do it with style and class, and they're full of garage logic, common sense. WelterHeating.com. And remember, Warm up your shelter with the fine folks at Ray N. Welter.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
You're going to feel better about the end of the world if you have a generator. I keep getting the idea that maybe we're heading into a period of time when a generator might be useful. Get to EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus. You can't miss it. It's on 97 immediately west of Interstate 35. They've got Yamaha generators on sale. $13.99 for $7.99. I don't know how that could be defeated elsewhere. But don't forget, EcoFun is your outdoor recreational specialist. They're the electric bike capital of the world. Scooters, motorcycles, snowmobiles, 4x4s, youth recreational equipment, and this tremendous inventory of Yamaha generators, 4-stroke. They're silent. You can get them electric start. It's one of those deals where I think I should have one just to have one.
Yeah.
Because then what if you need one?
Right.
Then you have one.
Well, where do you get it?
At EcoFun in Forest Lake / Columbus. They're also in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42. Great people and great products at EcoFunMotorsports.com.
In other news, nationally, a lot of new administration news, of course, dominating the news. The Trump-era Justice Department yesterday firing more than a dozen lawyers who worked on Special Counsel Jack Smith's 2 prosecutions of the president, while a Trump appointee opened an internal review of the department's decision to charge hundreds of January 6th defendants with felony obstruction offenses in connection with the Capitol attack. Acting Attorney General James McHenry firing the prosecutors because he didn't believe the officials could be trusted to faithfully implement the president's agenda because of their role in prosecuting the president, according to a Justice Department official. The Senate yesterday confirming billionaire hedge fund manager and investor Scott Bessent as President Trump's Treasury Secretary, making him the highest-ranking LGBTQ official in the nation's history. The Senate voted 68-29 to confirm the 62-year-old Bessent to lead the Department of the Treasury. He is the first openly LGBTQ person to hold the position, 5th in line to the presidency.
Okay, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's one of those initials, right? Whatever.
Yeah, he's gay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, if Trump's so insistent that he's going to go through the landscape and just destroy that, how could this guy possibly get to be head of the Treasury?
That's a great question. Nobody's really addressing that right now, are
Well,
they?
maybe it means that he's the best person for the job, and it doesn't make any difference if he's LGBTQIA 123XYZ 14-3.
I think that's how President Trump rolls.
Either that, or he's just another hedge fund billionaire.
Okay.
I think he's a DEI appointment. So
Yeah,
there you go.
could be. Could
Double
be.
agent?
Yeah.
Double agent. U.S. Public Health.
Whoa. Whoops.
U.S. public health officials have been told to stop working with the World Health Organization effective immediately. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention official John Kengasong sent a memo to senior leaders at the agency on Sunday night, telling them that all staff who work with the WHO must immediately stop their collaborations and await further guidance. Experts say the sudden stoppage was a surprise and could set back work on investigating and trying to stop outbreaks of Marburg virus and Mpox in Africa, as well as brewing global threats. It also comes as health authorities around the world are monitoring bird flu outbreaks among U.S. livestock. The collaboration halt isn't the only global health effect on Trump's executive orders. Last week, the president froze spending on another critical program, PEPFAR, or the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. The anti-HIV program is credited with saving 25 million lives, including those of 5.5 million children since it was started by George W. Bush. A memo from the White House Budget Office is calling for a spending freeze on federal assistance by 5 o'clock today, which could affect everything from aid to nonprofits, universities, small business loans, and state and local government grants. The freeze could have wide-ranging implications, with the White House noting that $3 trillion was spent in 2024 on federal assistance programs. The White House has not yet commented on the memo, which was leaked last night. The Monday night memo from the Office of Management and Budget is directing federal agencies to assess compliance with President Trump's executive orders, specifically targeting DEI, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. The White House memo said it will not affect Medicare or Social Security benefits. Wall Street Journal reporting confidence among U.S. consumers weakened for the second straight month, reflecting retreating optimism of both current and future conditions at the start of President Trump's second term and expectations that inflation will rise again. The Index of Consumer Sentiment, published by a research group in the Conference Board, fell 5.4 points, a little worse than the 106.4 expected by economists polled by the Wall Street Journal. That AI deal we were talking about, technology stocks dropped sharply yesterday as a cheap but powerful Chinese chatbot made waves. We talked all about it. The S&P yesterday fell 1.5%, the Dow Jones 0.7%, and the NASDAQ 3.1%. Holocaust survivors and world leaders gathered at Auschwitz in southern Poland yesterday to commemorate 80 years since the liberation of the largest Nazi concentration and extermination camp. More than 1.1 million people, mostly Jews, systematically executed at Auschwitz during World War II, primarily by poison gas as part of the Nazi Party's plans to form an ethnically German state. Others in the camp died from mass shootings, starvation, and disease before Soviet troops arrived and freed about 7,000 prisoners.
I read that if you gave a minute of silence for every Jew killed in World War II, we'd be silent for 11 years.
Wow.
That's quite.
I didn't do the math, so
Wow.
there you are.
Okay.
One music.
Shocking.
One music note. A fabulous musician producer who's been touring with the Eagles as a guitarist has to retire. Stuart Smith has, and I didn't know what this was, so I had to look it up. He got a Parkinsonism diagnosis, which I assumed had to do with Parkinson's disease, and it does. You have characteristics of that and several other problems. Stewart's been around forever. He's been with the Eagles for 24 years. Is the founding member of the Eagles, Don Henley, said he's retired from touring. The Eagles will be forever grateful to him. He's had a long, illustrious career, by the way, recording as both a guitarist and a producer. He's worked with Bob Dylan, Ringo Starr, Dolly Parton, Stevie Nicks, to name just a few of the hundreds he has worked with. He joined the Eagles after Don Felder was fired. Following in Smith's footsteps will be singer-songwriter Chris Holt, who first took the stage with the Eagles January 17th. Holt had previously played alongside Smith as part of Don Henley's solo band, and he's been a member of the Mike Campbell-led Dirty Knobs since 2022.
All right, I have to ask you Eagles aficionados a question. At what point do you color a day?
Well, they never will. I mean, if there's money to be
You're
made.
just printing money. You
When
might as
hell
well.
freezes over,
When
they will.
when I saw them the most recent time they were in town, about a year ago, whatever that was. And Vince Gill's really, really good. So don't get me wrong. It was fun, but at this point, it's like, well, you're not even watching the band anymore.
Yeah, they've been around.
Couldn't you say the same thing about the Stones?
Yes,
Who died? Glenn Fry?
yes.
Fry is dead, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's still, Tim Schmidt's still playing bass, and Joe Walsh's still there, and
Okay,
Henley's
all right,
still there. I guess as long as they're making money, they're not going to stop. I mean, what would the point be to
Tim
stop?
Schmidt, he's the one with the high voice, right?
High voice, yeah. He was Poco's bass player, and he joined
Yeah.
the Eagles in 76, 77.
Good voice.
Did you guys
Great-
ever see
great
that video of them harmonizing backstage?
What?
You guys really made me feel
Can we
bad.
move on here?
Stars.
30
move
years?
on?
30 years ago or so, Chris. First saw
It's
that.
actually 40.
We found a piece of fossilized vomit
Yeah.
dating back to when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Under my couch?
Yeah.
It was discovered in Denmark. The find was made by a local amateur fossil hunter on the cliffs of Stevens. While out on a walk, Peter Beneke found some unusual fragments, which turned out to be pieces of sea lily in a piece of chalk. He then took the fragments to a museum for examination, which dated the vomit to the end of the Cretaceous era, about 66 million
And it's
years
just laying
ago.
around. How did it surface?
Well, how'd you know it was vomit? Why would you even have picked it up?
Right.
According to experts, the vomit is made up of at least 2 different species of sea lily, which were likely eaten by a fish that threw up the parts it couldn't digest. The museum said this type of find is considered very important when reconstructing past ecosystems because it provides important information about which animals were eaten by which animals. Paleontologist Jesper Milan hailed the discovery as truly an unusual find, adding it helped explain the relationship in the prehistoric food chain. Sea lilies are not particularly nutritious, he said, as they consist mostly of plates held together by a few soft parts. But here is an animal, probably some kind of fish, that 66 million years ago ate the sea lilies that lived at the bottom of the sea and regurgitated all these skeletal parts.
Is it whale vomit worth a fortune? I believe
know.
it is for Chinese medicine.
I would say
Really?
in the off the street. Yeah.
Is dog throw up worth anything? We had a dog that threw up a lot.
Yeah, I don't. That's,
Always, yeah.
Well, you saved it, right?
Yeah, I got it. It's fossilized.
Whale vomit, also known as ambergris,
Yes.
is very valuable because it's rare and used in high-end perfumes.
Really?
A single gram,
A
Joe
gram?
Souchery, of ambergris can be worth around $27, and a pound can be worth over $10,000.
Man, I'd like to find me some whale.
You know what you got to do is you got to get the whale good and drunk.
Yeah,
Yep.
where do you
And
get
then
the whale
have him just
vomit?
go to the
Just wait,
bathroom
just
and
wait
just wait.
there.
And he's going to throw up all over the
Yeah.
place.
Man, that'd be neat to have a bunch of whale vomit. John,
You
thank
got to
you.
be quick though. If that thing's
you're
throwing up,
welcome.
you got to get that.
That's a
cork
good
under
point.
there to-
How do you capture it? It's in the ocean.
Right.
Got a duck.
You just wait and then you get it.
Hey, Larry, grab the bag.
Where did they get
Well,
the whale vomit?
As you're holding the whale's hair back while she's leaning over the
Whoa,
toilet,
Yeah, that's true love.
get a red Solo cup and collect it.
Hold on, hon. Let me grab the Cub Food shopping bag.
Oh, boy, I'll
Better
tell
double
you.
bag this one.
Well, you can all engage in your sophomoric behavior, but when I'm near the beach, I'm looking for whale vomit.
$27 an ounce.
You think I can find some
Graham?
in Mexico?
That's where they go. They got them. You
All
can
right.
get it.
Try that.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fast Photo Film Lab, a brand new partner here to the Garage Logic podcast. They're based in Bloomington. You can find them online at fastphotofilm.com. Photo is spelled with an F, by the way. Here's the deal. They are your old-fashioned photo lab that offers in-house film processing, photo scanning, photo restoration, custom greeting cards for any occasion, photo books, passport photos for any country, by appointment, and more. If you've got a photo idea, then they're going to be able to help you out. It's the best time of the year to dust off that old box of photographs, and you're going to receive 50% off their Pro Scan prices. The more photos you have, the greater the savings. Every family has that box of memories, and often they don't know what to do with them. Well, digitize them for safekeeping that generations can then enjoy. Bring them your box of family memories with their 50% off special, and they're going to digitize photos up to 12 by 17 inches, negatives, and slides. So once again, visit their website, fastphotofilm.com, or you can give them a call directly at 952-835-1815, or once again, visit fastphotofilm.com. Photo is spelled with an F, and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Truth, justice, and the Soucheray.
Okay, so you lost your house in L.A. due to a fire.
I did, yeah.
And you wake up and you read this in the L.A. Times. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has decided that the fire-ravaged Pacific Palisades will be built back by an outside consultant. The decision was made without any consultation with local residents or any process of input from those
That
affected.
smells bad.
She appeared yesterday afternoon in Pacific Palisades on an unannounced visit, together with her chief recovery officer. Boy, they still don't get. Trump sat at a table with her and tried to tell her what the future
Let's go
holds.
here.
They don't get it. The chief recovery officer is Steve Soberoff, who Bass appointed earlier this month, also without local consultation. The LA Times reported that Bass announced her intention to hire a consultant to handle the rebuilding. The city of Los Angeles is planning to hire an outside consultant to handle a significant rebuilding contract for areas devastated by this month's fire, the mayor said. The firm will represent the city's interests in the wildfire recovery process, including performing damage assessments, monitoring air and water quality, interacting with various federal agencies, and ensuring that the city gets as much federal reimbursement as possible. Remember what Thomas Sowell said about the bureaucracy. Yeah. It's all about the process, not the results. So they got some great processes underway. We're going to have meetings and we're going to talk. And
ain't going to get no results.
Details about the scope of the contract with the consultancy remain scant. The city is in the midst of reviewing proposals from major firms. What the hell is this? What? It's probably premature for me to understand this, but so you had a really nice house in Pacific Palisades, and it's gone.
Yep.
But it was paid for. You owned it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you have a say in what's going to happen to that piece of property?
I sure would want to say.
You don't believe this will actually come to fruition, do you?
Sure,
I do. No, we're talking some people with some pretty big checkbooks and heavy influence. They're not going to kowtow to this nonsense. I don't see it happening.
Well, I hope you're right. But what does this mean? Unless it's, I'm supposed to make the distinction that she says we're going to protect the city's interests. Well, maybe she means all the city-owned property. And you, Mr. Smith, with your burned-out shell of a house there, you do whatever you want to do.
I'm working to verify, but there are several accounts reporting that the various checkpoints. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Of the people that aren't, they're waiting in line for hours.
They can't get in.
It's just ridiculous. Like, what are we doing here?
How you doing?
Soberoff, the recovery officer, claimed that the consultant would represent locals despite the complete lack of notice or consultation. He also suggested that the consultant would control the federal money entering California to deal with the damage.
No.
Locals have had virtually no input in any of the decisions currently being made by the city and state officials. Most were only able to access their property for the first time yesterday, and that was because of an intervention by Trump. Support for Bass has collapsed since the fires.
Just think of that. They haven't been able to access their house. Where have they been living since? And they don't have any of their stuff.
Well, they're not going to salvage anything.
Right.
But they want to see where they lived and maybe pick up a photo that didn't get burned or something.
But think of the logistics of your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything, and where are you staying?
So we can assume that this commission or whatever the hell they are going to control what kind of house you build, the setback, can you put a pool in your yard, how many vehicles in your driveway, et cetera, right? This is going to be the government controlling.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. You're right, Kenny.
That's a guess.
I don't know why we shouldn't speculate that. It sure sounds like it.
Well, some of them were pretty ornate houses. I mean, a lot of them were just regular. But
one of the thoughts on social media, which I haven't brought up because I don't believe often in social media, is that these fires were planned and done deliberately. Well, I'm not there yet. Okay. I don't know if I believe that.
We don't know that.
That's right. We don't know that. And 2, it was done so to then replace all of that with a 15-minute city, the so-called planned city, where you're not 15 minutes away from everything you need in life, which would speak to their desire to get rid of the automobile.
But from a legal standpoint, I understand that most, or not most, but however many people that didn't have fire insurance, for instance, right? But you're still the sole proprietor of that piece of
That's why I'm asking, do I get to have a say in my 1/3 acre of land here that disappeared.
Of course you do, because you have a legal binding. Well, that's probably up in
What
flames.
does the law
but-
mean to a committed Marxist like Bass?
True.
You know,
True.
what's the law mean in Minnesota? You got a criminal who keeps pushing aside her trial date.
Who stands to gain here? Them awarding that outfit the contract, but think about all the builders. We need to order wood. We need to order plumbing. We need to order electricity.
Well, all that's in the future.
Well, how do you decide?
Apparently, the chief recovery officer would. It's almost like
That's
St.
BS.
Paul's got a chief resiliency officer who doesn't do anything.
But Rookie, you're trying to provide logic and reason to.
I
people
want
that-
Reber's
yeah,
Construction Service because I have a relationship
Thank
with
you.
him. I don't need Joe's chief recovery.
Well, I'm going to introduce another note on that. I think the devastation is so vast and so all encompassing that it's not unreasonable to expect that the government is going to have some role in helping to organize the recovery. There's got to be a plan. You can't have 14 different Acme construction trucks on one block. You got to have a plan, you know.
So you want a new FEMA?
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
But let's be She needs to be transparent. and
I don't.
can't
I don't
book this
believe a
stuff
word.
without-
I don't place a word of confidence in this ridiculous woman.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the government should be involved at some level?
I'm saying I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation that there would be a plan. Otherwise, if it was one block that burned down, you wouldn't need a plan. But this is a big hunk of the city.
Name me one instance where government just absolutely knocked it out of the park and we couldn't have done anything without them. Maybe the 35W bridge. Other than that, give me a good example. All they do is muck things up.
Well,
that's with an M,
That's
muck.
the joke I was trying to make is, for crying out loud, look at North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay, so is Trump really... let's not take that right turn, but I see what you're saying.
Well,
Joe, so you've got the money. Your house is paid off. Insurance didn't pay you anything, but you have the money. You can call in a construction crew, say from, Arizona, and get started on your rebuilding your house next week. Do you want the government involved in what you're doing?
no, because what I would fear is it would be 3/4 built, and the government would come along and say this is not allowed.
And the one thing we haven't brought up, and I've heard Adam Carolla say this a number of times, that just getting a construction permit in L.A. is almost impossible, and sometimes you wait over a year.
Well, isn't that what Trump was getting at with this meeting over the weekend with all the L.A. authorities?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, he banged his fist on the table and said the right things, and then he got on his airplane and left.
Right.
Are they going to just ignore him?
Yeah, they will. Yeah, absolutely they will.
One request about the home you're building. Marjorie Johnson wants to know some of the features that
Yeah.
you're going to have.
You got a deck? What are you calling it, a lanai or a patio? What is that shed back there? What do you got in that shed?
I know we're nearing the conclusion of today's program, but let's just say the White House is holding their first press briefing.
Yeah.
We're going to have some doozies out of this one for tomorrow's program.
Really?
Oh, yeah. John, I don't know if you're monitoring it.
Is she as bad as John Claude Killy?
Caroline Leavitt. Well, do you want a quick snippet?
Yeah, let's hear something.
This is Joe. One of the questions was asked of her about the New Jersey drones.
All right.
The New Jersey drones, Joe.
All right.
What team are they?
I do have news directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy.
BS. No, absolute BS, because many of them weren't drones. The people who were running this, and we don't know who they are, I predicted they got to Trump. They got to Trump and said, you have to smooth all this over. We're not ready for this.
Joe, watching on YouTube, as soon as the word drone was said on the air, we lost 300 viewers.
Is that right?
Another great theory why we'll never hear the truth, if in fact there's some truth to be told. You want to know because if this exists, this artificial intelligence from outer space and whatever, they have their energy is free. They've developed the means by which all energy is you don't need oil and coal and wind and sun is what I'm saying. And so people with Okay.
The government
How do I
has
get out
plans.
of this hole that I just dug?
The government has
gonna be
plans to make
impressive.
cars run on water, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, I don't like the Eagles, man. No, if there's some means by which these people from Star X say, why do you guys got power plants? All you got to do is this, and you get free energy. That would really put a lot of that would disrupt a lot of fortunes in the world.
Right, thank you, Joe. West of the Rockies, go ahead.
Hi, this is Art Bell.
God, I can't get out of this.
It's either Toyota or Honda that's working on a hydrogen-powered car, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
For years, haven't they been working on
Yeah,
it?
I believe so.
Forever.
Well, I am going to cling to this belief that Trump did not give you the straight dope. And it's because he's been gotten to, and even Trump apparently had the ability to be astonished at what he was told and will not, and is going to go along with the game.
He'll let it slip on a golf course. He will.
He will, after a bogey, when he slams his putter into the ground, he say, let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
That's all BS that I told that woman
Yep.
about the
Exactly.
drones. Those are
Exactly.
creatures. Those are creatures. I would love if W was the president and they released that information, because the words he'd make up would be amazing.
I'm getting the hell out of here is what he'd say.
The universification of a drone would be acceptable to the reciprocal principle of flight. So that's their flying.
And the more he talks, the better that would sound.
Yes, they're airborne, as we say.
Milady,
airborne.
Lady.
All I got is this beer. That's right, I don't drink.
I just wanted to tell you another great bit of DEI news. Leading British universities are preparing to lower test standards in a bid to help improve the grades of ethnic minorities and poorer students in a major DEI initiative. The universities of Oxford and Cambridge are among those preparing to implement inclusive assessments such as open book exams and take-home essays rather than monitored in-person testing in the hopes of cutting the gaps between groups of students, this is according to the Telegraph. I would go so far as to say that DEI is immoral. It's just immoral, and there's no other way to look at it. How are you helping someone who supposedly is marginalized? How are you helping them by letting them cheat on a test?
You're not, because whenever they're, well, go ahead.
In its annual access and participation plan, a yearly report into how a university is seeking to improve the lot of disadvantaged student groups, the University of Cambridge said that traditional assessment practices may be responsible for varying performances among groups. In other words, really?
Is this for all courses in that college?
I don't know.
Because I don't know about Matthew's experience, but in my case, they passed me just to get rid of me. And they knew I wasn't going to become a mathematician or a scientist or a history, anything. It just, let's move him along.
This gets worse. Cambridge said that it would specifically seek to improve outcomes for Black and Bangladeshi heritage students. The university went on to cite research from its own academics finding traditional tests represent threats to self-worth. This is This is worse than AI. This is as unreal to me as AI. The Office for Students, which regulates higher education in England, has reportedly backed the plans. And other Russell Group elite schools, whatever that means, are considering following the example of Oxford and Cambridge. According to the OFS, there is a 22% gap between white and black students in achieving an upper second-class degree and an 11% gap between economically advantaged and disadvantaged students. Now, I don't doubt any of that, but I doubt the way you want to fix it is immoral. It's wrong. There's no other way to look at it. This is a massive making people less than. Massive.
Well, and stupid. If you don't know the material, you don't pass. Thank you. I got that on my own. I'm glad I could help out today.
Come to the office to get your check.
Yeah. Bring your belongings. I need to borrow your box. Hey now.
My bug out?
Hey now. Yeah, right. But you wouldn't go to the office. You would just
Go
leave.
home.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Yep. I wonder if I can get the time in the temp.
Yeah, I wonder if I can get the time in the temp.
Thanks.
Why even have schools then?
Hello?
And why would you pay to go to such a place?
Why
What would the
indeed?
point be? What would the point be?
Well, because you've got to earn that degree and set yourself free.
Oh God!
I only did that for rookie
Well, there's something I wanted
because my
to
man's going on
say.
vacation.
There's something I really wanted to say.
I know.
And I don't know where it is. This is it. Now, PETA is one last thing. I mean, I've got so much I want to talk about. That PETA is going after the Groundhog Day tradition in Punxsutawney.
No.
Yeah, they think that's too hard on the groundhog. PETA will deliver a delicious weather reveal vegan cake.
Oh, I bet that's real good.
Gross.
In perpetuity, if the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club agrees to let Punxsutawney Phil and his family retire to a reputable sanctuary. Like climate change, what you got to remember about PETA is they have nothing to do with animals. It's all about disrupting
Right.
patriarchal society. It has nothing to do with animals. So I don't really care if they have Punxsutawney Phil or not.
That's February 1st, is it not?
Second.
I don't know.
Second.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
Sunday.
Sunday.
This Sunday, I bet they're planning some kind of demonstration.
I wonder.
I would not wear my best fur coat to
Yeah.
that celebration.
Only because they come to us. But we didn't do squat at the end of January in this state.
Too cold.
Watching the Vikes?
Oh, I mean, in history, this day in history.
Right.
All
Too
the way
cold.
from Lake Las Vegas, Nevada, from the traveling Lymans. There's two, and one of them I wouldn't even have put in
We got nothing.
on this day.
Joe, today is Jan 28.
In 1890, get this. Farmers in Clark Grove, Freeborn County, formed a dairy cooperative.
Okay.
BFD.
Right.
The co-op is the state's first.
It's not the state's first.
Oh, the co-op is not the state's
No.
first.
Right.
Why isn't it?
But its success inspired other communities to use Clark's Grove organizational system and its bylaws, which were written in Danish, as a model. That's it. That happened today.
Where's Clark's Grove, Joe?
It's in Freeborn County.
And
I don't know. I don't do locations, Kenny. I just do the names of the counties. Okay,
You also-
Kenny?
And it's an F county. And
county,
as he sets you up with the slowest
Faribault,
goddamn pitch in the history of radio.
Fairmont and Fairmont and Freeborn. I don't know
Thanks.
where Freeborn County is.
Thanks, Joe.
Southwestern?
I think so.
Who cares?
I
As
don't
long as you
care.
know the F counties.
I got your F counties right here.
Right here.
Bet you do.
But that I'm sorry. I'm putting together this day in history. I'm not including this.
That would be your Albert Lee area, Freeborn County.
Okay, good.
South 35.
On
Good
this,
people down there.
On this day, just a year later, on this day
There's more.
On Jan 28th.
in 1891, as a group of Ojibwe assembled for a ghost dance. This is a cool story. This should be in a novel. As a group of Ojibwe assembled for a ghost dance, a rumor of an uprising at Lake of the Woods spread, and many white settler colonists fled the Roseau Valley. Upon investigation, Sheriff Oscar Youngren discovered that the gathering was peaceful. Fearing that the colonists might take revenge upon their return, a few of the Ojibwe feed and watered their animals in their absence. Isn't that something?
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Isn't that
awesome.
something? Hey, cool, brother. I know you split because you thought you were going to get scalped or something, but we're here for you. We're here. We didn't do anything. We were peaceful and we fed your cow.
Public relations.
Yeah, it's marketing on behalf of the Ojibwe.
That ghost dance worked out a little better than the Wounded Knee ghost dance.
It really did.
much better,
It
yeah.
really did. But geez, can you just see that? It's in the dead of January. It's Lake of the Woods. It's freezing. It's and these rubes are running for their lives.
To where, by the way?
They have no idea where to.
You can see the curve of the earth up there. It's so flat.
And the Ojibwe left behind said, "What the hell's going on? Where are they going?
What's with the dum-dums on the
Why
run?
are they leaving like this?
Should we be running too?
Well, they must have feared that the ghost dance would have resulted in some harm to them. Well, not only was there no harm, the Ojibwe said, well, we better take care of their stuff.
Yeah, good thing you're right, John. Good thing the FBI wasn't around to protect us then, huh?
Well, no, I'm talking about the original Wounded Knee, the 1890.
Oh,
because that was a ghost dance to start with, and the Army basically was very frightened and came up and just started shooting Native Americans.
Yeah.
There's a guy in this show I watched called American Primeval.
Yeah.
Did you watch it, John?
I watched the first one.
So you saw the guy, they attempted to scalp a guy, and those weren't Indians doing that. Those were Mormons with sacks over their head.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see the guy attempt to get scalped?
Yes.
He ended up with some really bad stitches. It looks like the Frankenstein stitches.
Right, really bad ones.
really big knots.
Yes.
It really was not good.
That you should warn people. It is a bit gory if you're interested.
Well,
in
if
that
that's
sort of
the
thing or
opening
not.
episode, I can imagine.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not watching that crap.
Well, Pat won't watch it. It doesn't have hygiene.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that show.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm not watching mud.
There is a scene with an arrow through the head. That's the scene that kind of.
Oh yeah, you can get.
It kind of made me go, huh?
How about Royce on the Oregon Trail? Can you see that?
Yeah, Diet Coke.
Hey, call the covered wagon department. We got a broken wheel.
How about Royce stuck in the Sierra Nevada, snow up to your armpits, no food or water left? Is Royce the first one to fry up somebody's arm?
I started as a full-figured guy. I'm wasting away.
Helga looks pretty good over there. She's a bigger gal. Let's start with her.
Let's go here. All right, GLers. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we will. Hey, GLers, how about you do this? How about you hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel? Yes, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and on that channel, each and every single day, starting right around noon, you can watch the show live on YouTube. You can also see some full segments. There's video shorts, there's behind-the-scenes footage in some cases. Our channel is en fuego right now, the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You should also follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Twitter, or X as we like to call it, Facebook, and Instagram. and you can sign up for the Daily Logician. Yeah, it's an email. Comes right to your inbox each and every day. It includes the most recent episode of the
Technology
podcast.
and stuff?
I'm looking at my copy. I'm looking for my copy. And
don't
also,
have mine
don't forget, the GLer of the Week. Sign up right now, become an annual town council member, and do it online at garagelogic.com. We announced it on Friday.
We can't reprint Cullen's letter. It's full of his phone numbers.
Jesus, Joe.
You want to wait till we're
God.
done doing the
Yes.
show?
Wow.
I wanted that to be on the air.
Well,
It's just information.
okay.